situation where these families have been moved from areas where they used to produce food, which was not even enough for them to be able to provide for their children. But now they have moved and they're struggling to feed their children. My guess is that in terms of rates of malnutrition, these will be quite high in these areas. We will go beyond the 48% that we currently have as a country. So malnutrition levels, we're expecting that to go up. So incidences of stunting and all that goes with malnutrition, that is bound to increase in these areas. Health impacts, we have seen a number of children. If you went to Mufulira in Kankoyo, there are children with chronic, coughs, chronic flu and colds and all that. So in terms of the impact on the health of these children, the picture doesn't look great for many of the children living in these areas, drinking contaminated water. Above and beyond that is the social dynamics. Many of these children are now forced to travel long distances to schools. Some of the children, for instance, had to walk a distance of about 25 kilometers to access their school because one of the mining companies in the area fenced off land through which they used to pass to go to their school, and it used to be a distance of about 6-7 kilometers. So now, because they are not able to go through that land, or that piece of land is owned by the mine, they have to walk 25 kilometers. And smaller children, it means that they will not be able to start school on time in those areas because they can't walk those distances. And there will be many dropout rates in terms of children going to school. The classes are getting overcrowded. We're seeing a lot of movement of people into those areas, people from other areas going to look for jobs, going with their families. We now have a situation where the classes in those areas, in Solwezi in particular, they're really getting overcrowded. So in terms of the quality of education being provided to the children in those areas, that is being compromised. And unfortunately, this is one of the areas that we are not looking at as a country, to look at what impact this influx of workers to these new areas is causing, and therefore what kind of mitigation measures we need to put in, particularly with regards to public services. We're still maintaining the same level of public services, and yet in terms of population, the population in these areas has doubled or even tripled in some of the areas. But in terms of the services being provided, there are no additional services being put in to support these communities. So eventually, I think the casualties will end up being the local people, because the ones that are coming in from outside are coming in because their parents or families are working in the mines or doing all sorts of activities with the mines there. So they have a little bit more money than the local people who will not be employed, who will have very little other income generating activities. So they will be the ones that will be withdrawing their children from school because they cannot afford.